Chapter 6. Now, exactly how did she look? Luella asked me. Did she look mad? What do you think they'll do? Do you think they'll come after all? She was pacing up and down the hall, very nervous. I think they will, just to show the mayor and Mr. Crabtree and Alice's mother. Of course, Luella was worried about whether to tell her mother, because if I do bring Howard and then the Herdmans show up anyway, I'll get killed. Plus, I won't get my $8. I thought she was probably right about the $8. The last time the Herdmans got their hands on Howard, Imogene, and Leroy drew pictures all over his bald head and charged people 25 cents to look at him. Howard didn't seem to mind, but Mrs. McCluskey had a fit. Who knows what they'd do to him next, she said, if they ever got the chance. Luella would have to make up her mind in a hurry, though, because Halloween was only 2 days away. This was all Charlie knew how to say lately. It's only 4 days away, 3 days away, and now it's only 2 days away, Beth. What are you going to help? When are you going to help with our costume? Charlie had changed his mind about being a happy hobo. He and Cecil Farmer were going to be the front and back of a lion. We always wanted to be a two-person thing, Cecil told me, but it would never work with trick-or-treating, so this is our chance. They used Mrs. Farmer's easy ring floor mop to be the lion's mane. Charlie put it on his head with all the strings hanging down for me to see, and the rest of the lion would be Charlie and Cecil underneath the old slipcover. I had to pin it around them, cut some eye holes for Cecil to see out of, Charlie said. It didn't look much like a lion, and cutting eye holes for Cecil wouldn't help. But of course, he didn't want to walk around all night and see nothing but the inside of a slipcover. I only had time to cut one hole because Cecil had to get back home with the mop, but he would have more time, he said, on Halloween night. He also said he wouldn't do this at all if the Herdmans were going to be there. I wouldn't even be the front half of the lion if the Herdmans were there. I didn't blame him, but front or back, it wouldn't matter. If the Herdmans decided to take the lion apart, neither end would be safe. Boomer Malone offered to be half of the lion if Cecil changed his mind. I was going to be King Kong after all, but my grandmother sent her fur coat to the cleaners in case it had bugs and it got stolen. I even bought a gorilla mask. Then you can still be King Kong. You could wear a sweatshirt or something. Not without my grandmother's coat. I could understand that. In the fur coat and the gorilla mask, Boomer would be a terrific King Kong, but without it, he would just be a fake ape in a sweatshirt. Not too good. Of course, he might be the only fake ape in a sweatshirt. So far, I had heard about kids who were going to be rock stars and kids who were going to be aliens and some superheroes and a human fly, but no apes. Joanne McCoy was going to be Imogene Herdman. Why not? They aren't going to be there. Charlie said the same thing when I told him about Boomer's offer to be half of the lion if Cecil changed his mind. Why would Cecil change his mind? You know what he said. If the Herdmans come to school on Halloween, he doesn't want to be inside a slipcover. But they aren't coming. They all said so. They won't be there. Everybody knows that. Mrs. Hazelwood wanted to make sure. I certainly hope we're going to see you in costume, Imogene, she said on Halloween morning. This was a big story. Miss Hazelwood didn't want to see Imogene at all, so she probably had her fingers crossed behind her back. We can't come, Imogene said. Our mother won't let us. Imogene would have to cross her fingers and her toes and her feet and her tonsils to cover that story. Her mother probably didn't even know there was a Woodrow Wilson Halloween party. If Mrs. Herdman didn't hang around the house much, she didn't hang around the school at all. And she probably thought PTA stood for put the trash away, like the signs on the trash barrels all over town. Mrs. Hazelwood looked relieved anyway, and she didn't even bother to say, "Oh, that's too bad," which would have been the normal teacher thing to say if it was anybody but a Herdman. Oh, honestly, Alice muttered, their mother won't let them. What place could be safer than Woodrow Wilson School tonight? Imogene, nose to nose with Alice, gave her a long, steady, squinchy-eyed Herdman look. Any place will be safer than Woodrow Wilson School tonight, she said, and then poking Alice in the stomach with each word, any other place. Alice gulped and turned pale and cross-eyed. from having Imogene right in her face. But she managed to squeak out that the PTA and Mr. Crabtree and her mother would all make sure that everything would be perfectly safe. You'll see, she said. No, Imogene said, poke, poke. You'll see. Well, news about this spread from class to class in the hallways and the lunchroom. And by the end of the day, it was all anybody could talk about. Did Imogene know something mysterious that no one else knew? Did all the Herdmans know it? And was that the real reason they were going to stay away? And what did they know? And most of all, what exactly was going to happen tonight at Woodrow Wilson School?